Happy Monday, members of the Altcoin Buzz. Army Matty here with you. Hope your week is off to a great start. Okay, so look, the market is a little bit up, the market is a little bit down. It's oscillating. There's nothing new there. I do want to outline kind of the observation here that Bitcoin, as of this recording, at $36,400 or so, is up a little bit over the last day. But if you take a look, it's been fairly flat on the whole, in terms of net flat on the whole over the course of this last week. It's starting to be outperformed pretty significantly by Ethereum, which we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're also giving away $50 worth of ETH at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. You may indeed be the winner. But check this out, Ethereum up 17.5% over the last week. A lot of altcoins starting to perform pretty well, starting to pick up, not waiting for Bitcoin. Binance Coin up 23%, Dogecoin also up 23%, Polkadot up 22%. Moving down the list, we have some even bigger winners in the form of Solana up 52%, VeChain up 21%, Theta Network 46%, and a couple of others, Filecoin up 31%. Look, I mean, that's still kind of irregular performance, and these are outliers even among the altcoins. But it's interesting. Bitcoin's dominance right now is sub 40%, 39.4%. Ethereum is still in that sort of like 50% range of what Bitcoin's dominant is. But there are some reasons to suggest that Ethereum is definitely heating up against Bitcoin, especially if BTC continues to kind of stagnate here in this zone and doesn't do a whole lot. We're looking at a bunch of different arguments to support both the case for an ongoing but extended bull market, as well as, to keep it fair, and in full transparency, we are considering some of the negative variables that we ought to talk about today. Let's first take this perspective courtesy of Trodel on Twitter, Trodelcom. Since the market is down at present, it does not look bad though. The list below shows the growth of the coins in the last year. So check this out. Ethereum, just for perspective, right? And for our own sanity, we have to remind ourselves, Ethereum up over 1,000% in the last year. Binance Coin up over 2,100% in the last year. Cardano, 1,800%. Dogecoin over 13,000% up. Theta, 3,300%, and VeChain, 1,700% up. I'm proud to say I own all of those, except unfortunately for Binance Coin. Binance Coin was one of those that I've held in the past, but I missed the last 6 months or so. It kind of caught me off guard, I'm ashamed to say. Let me know in the comments below if you're a holder of those projects. All good ones in my opinion. As always, check out Trodel and make sure you're following them to get the latest from the project. Okay, we talked about this positive news yesterday, and this is going to factor into some of the positive arguments in support of, or the arguments for, this extended, this ongoing bull market. El Salvador, of course, is a country that really from, the highest levels, the president of El Salvador is calling for Bitcoin legislation, for specific legal proposals through the political system to get the Bitcoin economy and standardization in El Salvador rolling. Documenting Bitcoin here, giving us a little bit of context. Recovering from a brutal civil war, El Salvador is now the 6th highest ranked country in inbound remittance from the US, making up 24% of the entire nation's GDP. With 70% of the population not having access to a bank account, they're embracing Bitcoin, embracing hope. That makes sense to me. You can take a look at all the different storefronts and businesses that have, Bitcoin accepted here signs effectively. So it's pretty amazing to see that it's the 6th ranked in terms of inbound remittance. That is an impressive stat. What's even more astounding to me is that 70% do not have access to a bank account. That is a huge number. Here we have Dylan Leclerc. It's happening. It's really happening. So check this out. A couple of encouraging captures here. So El Salvador, this is Stephen Rivera. El Salvador Bitcoin legal tender news might be a good opportunity for people to go work remotely from El Salvador and stack sats that won't have capital gains tax on disposal. Obviously, lots of moving parts here, including citizenship, residency, how you're structured, but it's worth exploring. So just, kind of stream of consciousness, pontification kind of stuff. Actually, let's go back here before I move ahead. Responded to by none other than Nayib Bukele, aka the president of El Salvador, will help with this, i.e. will help with all of those moving parts. The citizenship, the residency, how you're structured. This guy's serious about it. And what's amazing about El Salvador is I don't think it's a country, no disrespect to El Salvador, but I don't think it's a country that we've ever really mentioned in these news segments. It hasn't really been relevant to talk about El Salvador and cryptocurrency or altcoins or Bitcoin. And now all of a sudden we're getting this groundswell of attention, and it's not bottom up, it's kind of top down. It's from the president. I think it stands to reason that the president is in circles and social circles that are obviously keen on this kind of implementation, and it's not just his brainchild. It's something that he's surrounded by not only his advisors, but maybe there's a lot of the populists that are suggesting to him, it's like, no, this is the direction that we have to move in. So maybe he's responding to the will of his constituents, but still, like, an incredibly top-down turn of events for El Salvador and for President Bukele to be leading the charge. I think it would be cool if we had, you think of like the big names in Bitcoin, the big thought leaders in the space. For me personally, the people that come to mind would be, for example, Max Keiser, Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategy. Previously, I would include Elon Musk on this shortlist, but no longer. Actually, he's been outed. So Michael Saylor, Max Keiser, wouldn't it be cool if we had a president that, kind of made inroads into that group, into that space? Nayib Bukele, he could be added to these list of very prestigious names. And in terms of those other names, in terms of Saylor, in terms of Kaiser, in terms of other people, and even individuals like Stanley Druckenmiller and the people behind the Guggenheim Foundation, like, it's all been institutionalization talk, right? Institutions adopting Bitcoin, adopting cryptocurrency. Wouldn't it be cool if the narrative shifted from institutionalization to nationalization? That would be the next step. I didn't expect to see this kind of support this soon, but there you go. It's awesome. Here's the thing. Despite all of the attention, despite all of that positivity that, the press is starting to catch up with, there's still some, I guess, concerns right now that are outstanding that are kind of preventing Bitcoin from making a big move. Like, think about that. Like, a major Central American country straight up says, courtesy of its president, we want to integrate Bitcoin. And it barely moved the price. Why is that? We're on Cointelegraph.com. BTC price doesn't care about El Salvador. 5 things to watch in Bitcoin this week. So, like I said, in full transparency, we're going to have a few different points on this list that are in support of Bitcoin and the ongoing bull market, albeit extended bull market. And we may have a couple of points that, fly in the face of that, counter arguments to that thesis. But look, let's kind of consider all things, try to be objective here, and assess them one by one. So first thing is that Janet Yellen of the Federal Reserve seems to be, if not straight out saying, as at least signaling for higher interest rates. A cursory look at the wider macro climate delivers an interesting mixture for Bitcoin traders and holders. So Janet Yellen specifically spoke to Bloomberg over the weekend. She voiced support for President Joe Biden's latest giant spending package and argued that this should be given credence even if it resulted in inflation. Quote, if we ended up with a slightly higher interest rate environment, it would actually be a plus for society's point of view and the Fed's point of view. This means a couple of things. I think, higher inflation rates, and this is an entire series of videos kind of on its own, not higher inflation rates, higher interest rates. Higher interest rates would be the Federal Reserve's kind of first line of action, or their first lever that they could pull to help combat inflation, because we've talked about this many times on the channel. I think inflation is the biggest macro problem that especially the US dollar, but in general that fiat currencies face. 4.2% is the metric that we were given based on data out of the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, not even close to 4.2%. Actually, speaking of individuals like Max Keiser and others, they said, yeah, if they're saying 4.2%, you can rest assured that it's probably closer to 10, 12, maybe 15%. If you actually go through with a fine-tooth comb a lot of the commodities and assets that the CPI tracks, there's very selected, there's not even much of food representation. Many of the foods I've talked about that I purchase are up like 100% in the last 6 months. It's absolutely ridiculous because we're seeing shortages in things like poultry. pork, beef. That's one thing. CPI doesn't track food prices, or at least not to a degree that is realistically accurate. CPI doesn't track gasoline, which is up. I've also experienced shortages with that, hacks and pipeline disruptions and supply chain problems. It also doesn't track things like building supplies and lumber. Now, maybe that doesn't apply to the everyday person. Maybe that only applies to businesses and contractors and stuff, but price of lumber is up like 400-500% in the last year. I'm redoing my kitchen. Basically, behind the camera is my kitchen. We've been redoing that for the last month or so. It's like all these basic supplies are so much more expensive than they were just a short time ago. It's crazy. CPI doesn't track that. The result is the fact that inflation is much, much higher than 4.2%. So higher interest rates may curb that to a certain extent. They're going to help curb the number at least. But the result is that you're going to see, in my opinion, a lot of outflow out of the stock markets, people taking profit. I think you're also going to see a cool off in the real estate market, which is just out of control. Everywhere you look, it's absolutely out of control. Real estate is in seemingly a bubble. Higher interest rates will help to correct for that a little bit. As far as Bitcoin goes and the rest of cryptocurrency by extension, I think, as this article suggests, that the appeal for Bitcoin will be kind of emphasized as a deflationary asset. So we're not sure how that's going to go, to be perfectly candid, but overall, I think it's going to help the image of Bitcoin and crypto and support that perception in terms of the general public's view as a deflationary asset. El Salvador, not only El Salvador and Paraguay, they're failing collectively to really move the price of Bitcoin, which I find very, very surprising. So markets were practically unmoved on this revelation, as we talked about the president of El Salvador, something that continued as a Congress member from Paraguay took to social media to hint at plans for Bitcoin integration in a second world economy. So not only El Salvador, but now Paraguay, get this, quote, "As I was saying a long time ago, our country needs to advance hand in hand with the new generation. The moment has come, our moment." Carlitos Rayala tweeted on Monday, "This week we start with an important project to innovate Paraguay in front of the world. The real one to the moon." All right. It doesn't seem to be doing a lot for the price of Bitcoin. And I'm surprised by that, because can you imagine if we got this kind of news like in 2017, mid 2017, the effect that would have had on the market? Like just, oh my God, unbridled euphoria. For Caitlin Long, founder and CEO of Avanti Bank, there may be bigger forces at play. Bitcoin is hacking dictatorships, just like it's hacking big tech. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have included that point. It's kind of not really germane to the discussion. Here's, I guess, a point in support of the negative. For those that are suggesting a bear market is something that we're entering into now for perhaps an extended period of time. I hope not, but this would be an argument in support of that point of view. The fact that shorts are mounting right now in a classic bear signal. For all the excitement of the Bitcoin conference, BTC USD is firmly range-bound and minus a run of higher highs and higher lows, which could signal a breakout. Recent attempts at doing so by escaping the narrowing compression wedge, where volatility trends to almost zero, have all stalled. With funding rates lessening, positive signs were just about visible in some areas of the market, but others are already sounding the alarm. Causing concern are short trades on major exchange Bitfinex. As popular Twitter account FOMOCAP noted on Monday, a rise in shorts has historically coincided with major volatility, usually to the downside. That's something to watch out for. We are seeing an increased short volume. But then on the flip side, and kind of on the more positive side, as we talked about a moment ago, we have so many of the best altcoins out there that are outpacing Bitcoin. Bitcoin's kind of stumbling around, it's taking its time, it's being indecisive, and altcoins don't have the patience for it. So Ethereum in particular may be eyeing a parabolic move versus BTC, while some cryptocurrencies scoring sustained upside despite a declining crypto market capitalization. Hopes remain that an opportunistic alt season can still emerge. I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about an alt season if Bitcoin really does face sustained and ongoing downward sell pressure. But certainly Ethereum's got a lot going for it in the very near term. So currently at 0.076 ETH per Bitcoin could be primed for a further breakout. Kyle Davies, CEO of Three Arrows Capital, even went as far as to describe the incoming move as parabolic. If we hit 0.2 ETH BTC ratio, that is, without making USD all-time highs on both assets, I'm just not going to bother with crypto anymore. Blockfolio's up-only chat show host Kobe replied, capturing the general sense of frustration with current price action among traders. And for reference, ETH BTC hit an all-time high of 0.123 in July of 2018, but has never again approached those levels. On Monday, the majority of the top 50 cryptocurrencies by market cap saw modest gains as Bitcoin dithered, while some outperformed, including Solana, as we talked about, Tezos, and those others that we mentioned at the outset of the video. Could see some more upside here, especially if ETH BTC holds. That's according to Josh Rager. Let's see. I think there is sort of an independence that is kind of brewing here, and just because Bitcoin is dragging, is being shot down, is being bombarded with FUD, that's what I'd like to see ultimately. I'd like to see, these other assets, these great projects, become uncorrelated with the price of Bitcoin. There's no reason that they should all move down together. Technically, there's no reason they should all move up together. They should be independent and dynamic of each other. That would be kind of the dream, I suppose. Finally, one bit of, I suppose, negative news here is that miners have indeed staged the highest outflow of 2021. So for a while, I've been saying that, look, a key indicator of the fact that we're going to be continuing along with this bull run, with this bull market, is the fact that miners aren't selling. And miners really are the bleeding edge as far as sentiment. They're holding their reserves for as long as possible. They want to make sure that when the market properly peaks, that's when they let go of their bags, but not before. It's starting to change, unfortunately. If I'm going to be honest, it is starting to change. There are some adjustments being made to hash rates and difficulties and whatnot, and miners are beginning to sell. On June 3rd, 3,000 Bitcoin left the largest mining pool Poolin in what was the largest single outflow of 2021. Another 2,500 Bitcoin moved a day later. However, despite that, those aren't great numbers. It's not a fun thing to acknowledge, but despite that, analyst Lex Muskovsky, he said that the funds may not have ended up being sold. This isn't a sign for selling, even if this day sees 3 times the number of outflows like this. So something to keep an eye on, but it seems that the miners arguably are losing a little bit of confidence, and that wouldn't be good if that's the case. But look, guys, worst case scenario, let's just say the worst case, like apocalyptic scenario. Bear market for the next 4 years. That sucks. That wouldn't be good. But maybe right now you have 0.01 Bitcoin, 0.05 Bitcoin. Maybe you have 0.1. Maybe you have 0.5. Maybe you have 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 10, or double-digit Bitcoin. Who knows? Whatever amount that you have right now, and by extension, the same thing goes for the rest of cryptocurrency. At the end of the day, an accumulation phase, even if it's a multi-year bear market, isn't the end of the world. Because if you believe that crypto is going to be bigger in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30, 40, 50 years, if you believe it's going to be bigger in the future than it is today, then the longer prices continue to go sideways, perhaps even the longer the prices fall, the more you have an opportunity to accumulate. So I'm not saying that is the case. I think we're going to achieve new all-time highs maybe about a year from now or so, but I don't think we're going to have to wait 3 years. Just my point of view. But if I'm wrong, that's the silver lining. More time to accumulate, and we'll have to work on our delayed gratification, but that certainly is the upside here. More upside news. We also have the Bank of England. They released a second discussion paper on cryptocurrency, focusing on stablecoins and central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This space is commanding the attention of the institutions. And whether or not they have a positive or a negative point of view, they're having to address the issue. Bank of England releases discussion paper on stablecoins, CBDC. The paper focuses on the effects of private stablecoins on the cost of availability of lending and the challenges for monetary policy. Check it out. Okay, just a brief bit of altcoin news here before we launch into our $50 giveaway of Ethereum. We're talking Chainlink here with this recent update. Multi-chain, synthetic issuance and derivatives trading platform Plutos Network is going to use Chainlink to obtain secure, accurate, and up-to-date price feeds, enabling Plutos to correctly mint, swap, redeem, and liquidate a wide variety of synthetic asset positions. Chainlink was one of those that, especially when Bitcoin took a hit on the 19th of May, 20th of May, around that time, Chainlink dipped to, I've talked about this before, but just like to ridiculous levels, like $15, $16. I looked at that and I said, I'm buying up like a triple digit asset in terms of value for $15, $16. And then eventually maybe more, maybe quadruple digit as time goes by and in the future. Perhaps the next peak of the next bull cycle, I don't know, but Chainlink to me has a future that is just almost limitless in potential. Kudos to them on this integration with Plutos Network. You can check it out for the full write-up here, medium.com/Plutos Network. I'll link to that in the description below. Okay, moving right along to our giveaway for today. We're taking a look at yesterday's video. Elon Musk and Tesla are playing the Bitcoin long game, in which we talked about how, taking a look at what Croissant ETH had to say in a very detailed and lengthy thread on Twitter, kind of doing the forensics and the detective work for us. He did a great job. I'm assuming it's a guy, maybe she, but Croissant ETH did a great job and was really able to piece together some very interesting bits of info. I do think that, for the short term, Elon Musk is just trying to pander to and placate to those that keep the company going, Tesla, right? Because Tesla doesn't really make the majority of their money at all via sales. Their revenue comes largely through the selling of carbon credits and carbon offsets to other auto manufacturers. Anyways, we got into that in yesterday's video. Some very interesting points brought up, suggesting that long term, I think Elon Musk has something up his sleeve, and perhaps working in conjunction with Cathie Wood of ARK Invest, because anyways, check out the video if you haven't already. It's interesting bit of speculation. Anyways, 215 likes, 521 comments. So as a reminder, to be eligible for $50 worth of Ethereum, number one, you have to like the video. Number two, you have to subscribe to Altcoin Buzz News. And number three, you have to comment with either the letters ETH, ETH, or the word Ethereum. We give away $50 worth of Ethereum every day. The latest winners, you should have received your prize. We batch the giveaways. So, we announce the winners every day. We batch the giveaway, so just logistically, it's easier to send it all out about once a week. Let me know, winners, you should have received your Ethereum by now. Let's go ahead and take the URL of yesterday's video, copy that. As always, I try to do this live. Go over to Raffle Dash here. YouTube random comment picker, as long as you're not a previous winner, as long as you've incorporated the word ETH or the word Ethereum into your comment, you potentially stand a chance to win. Today's winner, Gordy Wiltshire, ETH. Well done. Thumbs up. All right, Gordy. Hey, congratulations. You've won $50 worth of ETH. Gordy, my man, go back to yesterday's video, my good sir. This one right here. Find your comment, i.e. this comment right here that we're looking at. Find your own comment and reply with this same profile, the same Gordy Wiltshire YouTube profile. Reply to your own comment with the Ethereum address to which you would like us to send you your $50 worth of Ethereum. It's that easy. Well done. Well, that about does it for today, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army. Hey, do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels. Keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io, our website, for all the latest. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications if you enjoyed today's video. None of this is financial advice. You guys know that. However, I do wish you luck if you choose to invest, of course, on this Monday or any other day for that matter. But hope you're having a great Monday, a great start to your week. Stay safe, everybody. As always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.